So got a new glass, and this is also very young. I love Domain Weinbach. I've had a number of their Rieslings over the years. They also have a really great Pinot Gris. So Riesling, on the aroma, I think always side by side. If someone said which is Riesling, which is something else, I'd get this every time. These side by side. If I didn't, I'd be surprised. Riesling does have a characteristic smell. Alsatian Rieslings definitely smell a little different than German. Don't know that I'd be able to guess those differences. And then I love Finger Lakes Riesling. I like some domestic, meaning some local Riesling I've had as well. This is bone dry. Some of the best Rieslings are bone dry. Some of the great dessert wines in the world, though, are made from Riesling. Super expensive, super sweet, and there's an acidity to them that makes the sweet wines non-cloying. They're very, very expensive, just like ice wine's extremely expensive. I love this Riesling. This is like in the 25 to 28 range, I think. So this fits that bill for more of a weekday wine, price-wise, under 30. Or the Chardonnay Chandon a little over. So whatever the difference is, let's say it's $5 to $8 a bottle, but that adds up for weekday type wines over the course of a year. But these are two of my favorites. Two of my favorite grapes, white grapes, are Riesling and Chardonnay. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Another grape, white grape, that I love is Avsitiko from Greece. Now there's the Hatzidakis that I've really recently discovered. I absolutely love the Avsitikos from there, done a little bit differently. They have a little bit more body and texture, which I absolutely love. I love Chenin Blanc, especially from the Loire, especially with some age, especially from a good producer. So Domaine Gilberteau is the producer out of the Loire that I'd like to buy some Chenin Blanc from soon. Well, probably in the next 12 to 18 months, sort of in my mind. I'd have the Nicolas Joly ones, which are some of the most sought after and highly regarded Chenin Blancs in the world. South Africa makes Chenin Blanc. I haven't had a whole heck of a lot of them, but if I go to a place that has wines by the glass and there's a Chenin, I'll typically get a Chenin. I believe it's always in a pretty high quality, and I like the way Chenin tastes and ages and everything that is about Chenin Blanc. So Chenin Blanc, Chardonnay, Riesling, Thurima, and Avsitiko I mentioned. Viognier, something in the middle, and this whole conversation I'm having here about this is because this podcast specifically was talking about Viognier and how people have like a love-hate with it. And you're right, Viognier, and they're right. Viognier has a high barrier to entry for price. The good ones out of Condrieu, which is in the northern Rhone, a region and only is producing Viognier, are expensive. $50 to entry point. You really have to spend $50 to $70, I think, to really try a great expression of Viognier. I've had one of the most expensive Viogniers ever made, Chateau Gruyere, and I did get it for a lot less than it costs now, let's put it that way. But I think it was an amazing white. I thought it was a great white, not an amazing white. It probably needed more time, but I think, so Viognier has a big texture to it, a big mouth feel. Sometimes I just get apricot on it for days. Sometimes I get this bitter, nutty thing on the end. It depends how it's made. But typically it's a fuller body wine, but with a lower acidity. Like a medium minus low acidity, which is weird on a white wine. And I think there's a place for it. I feel like it's a white wine you could drink on its own. If you're a Chardonnay drinker, you might try Viognier, see if you like it. I think I do. But I've had some bad ones, I think. I think some I've had more locally are a little too bitter. They lack that apricot, that viscosity, and they kind of just taste like they made a white wine out of Viognier to say they did, and it doesn't have maybe the care or the ripeness. Something's just not quite right about it. Regardless, there's so many other great whites you can get for far less than 50 to 70. It's probably why Viognier maybe doesn't have a great reputation, and it's just not widely planted and available and affordable. So what are some white grapes I don't like? I do not like Gewürztraminers. This kind of goes in this vein of being overly floral. I don't mind florality, a Nebbiolo grape has a florality, a rose petal thing, but it's not like smash in your face. The Gewürztraminer is a smash in your face florality and lychee fruit. I just don't like it. I don't even like the way it tastes. I just don't like it. There's a spice to it, element that I don't really like, a red peppercorn thing. I just don't dig it. Then there's, I didn't even think about this, but Torrontés is an Argentinian white grape, and I guess most of the ones I've ever had are inexpensive, extremely floral, so I don't really go out looking for a Torrontés. Are they bad? I'm not gonna say they're bad. I just don't prefer them. Sauvignon Blanc I have to be in the mood for, because they have a florality to them, but if I'm in the mood for it on a summer day or with a certain cuisine, I might go for it. Something in my mind about stuffed zucchini flowers and Sauvignon Blanc just kind of sounds good. Although I compare that with probably numerous other white wines. And I thought I had another one on my mind, and now I'm blanking on it, but I can't think of it right now. But when it comes to some of my favorites and some of my lesser desired white grapes, those are two of them. These were both too cold when I first started with them. I'm hoping they warmed up a bit. The Riesling's still a bit cold. I'm sorry, this is the Riesling. And they're both pretty cold still. So it needs to be a little warmer. It's good. That's the Chardonnay, and like I said, it's not your stereotypical California Chard you might think of. It doesn't also kind of taste Burgundian either. It's different. It's different in a good way. And damn, do I love that Riesling. I really love this. Entry-level Domaine Weinbach Riesling is awesome. They both have, this has razor sharp acidity, but really well balanced. The Chardonnay has a pretty high acidity as well, but again, also really well balanced. Both in the lighter style, both superfood friendly, and both great for a weekday. I'm going to have some prosciutto wrapped asparagus, which I think both of these actually would go really well with. Asparagus is one of those vegetables that's very difficult to pair with a wine, and although it's one of my favorite vegetables, so I think the prosciutto with the salt and then the asparagus and these whites will actually work pretty darn well. Then I'm having ribs. I have no idea if these whites are going to pair well with ribs. They probably won't. I kind of like rosé with barbecue. It feels like it's a good combo. I don't have any rosé though. I have one. I'm not going to drink it. And I do have an unboxing coming from Obsidian, so that'll be good. And what else do I have? Oh, I'm going to go through the Wine Spectator Top 100 list. Not go through the list, but go through wines in there that I either think are interesting, worth trying, worth mentioning, or maybe I've had experience with, and just have some fun with it. I've seen some other people do stuff like that, and it seems kind of cool. I highlighted the ones I thought had some interest to myself, maybe to others, and I wanted to bring them up and put them in a little video, and I'll be doing that in the future. For now, I'm going to warm up my dinner. Well, that's it for tonight. Have a good night.